Hey, what's going on? This is Tailiah Breon. I'm the director for Marquise Boone's psychological thriller Spin to BEBE's Kids, BEBE.
Hey, did y'all see my friend Lee this morning?
Yes.
This is a fan-made film inspired by Robin Harris's BEBE's Kids, a beloved cartoon animation from the 90s that some of us have grown up watching and seeing. So BEBE's Kids slash BEBE, the fan-made psychological thriller twist version, right now is a pilot that is being submitted to film festivals. It is also a trailer available on YouTube if you have not seen it. BEBE is an extension of BEBE's Kids. It's not a remake as much as it may seem like it. It's actually a beloved cartoon animation transformed to real life with more layers added, with the psychological thriller twist added.
Mom, are you there?
What is this? Another unpaid bill? Shamika, please.
Please give kids dinner. I'll be home soon, baby.
I decided to do BEBE because I was ready for something like this. I've been wanting something that's different, that's layered, that's challenging, that will challenge a group of people to see something differently. So this was so timely. Like, this honestly was an answered prayer. Marquise Boone, who is the writer, the executive producer, reached out to me. He told me he had this story. He asked, have I heard of BEBE's Kids? And I was like, yes, I'm familiar with the story. So he told me that he wanted to do a spin on it and make this animation real life. And I was like, oh my God, I love that. Like, immediately I thought of Bill Cosby's The Fat Albert and how that rendition was made into real life. So I love to play with characters and a theme and a storyline that's already cultivated and basically bringing it to life. And I also wanted to be a part of BEBE because of the psychological thriller spin. I'm not a horror person. I'm not a fear-based person without purpose. So what I liked about this story is it had elements of thrill and suspense, and I love to tap into those things, but it has to make sense for me. And this is one of those stories that made sense because it was fear with purpose. Like, I don't want to spoil it, but I was able to read the full script and it is amazing. Like, it's so much deeper than the surface. It's so much deeper than suspense and thrill just to have it. Like, there are actual messages that relate to life, that relate to children growing up in the inner city and behavior issues, and it affects the effects that are just on life and growing up differently from someone else that maybe didn't have the same fortune that you were blessed with. So it's such a layered, such a deep, such a dramatic story that is shaped around a story that we all can relate to. So that's why I wanted to be a part of BEBE.
But we're just playing. Other kids are playing too.
Start up again, I'm gonna drop you like a bad habit. Hear that?
Yeah.
Test tube, baby.
Can we eat, man? I'm hungry. We were too excited to have breakfast. Yeah, that's it.
BEBE don't keep nothing in her fridge.
I tell you, Jamaica, that baby, she getting on my nerves. I ain't even met the child. Leave these poor children, look at them, starving. They be better off in Ethiopia.
There has been an overwhelming amount of feedback from BEBE's Kids. And I love it all. I love it all. I eat the meat, I throw out the bone. Everyone's entitled to an opinion. That's what art is. There is no right or wrong for the most part. But what was the question? Some people say BEBE should have been kept a comedy, and I understand that, but I do want to challenge this perspective. First of all, there's always going to be that group or that person that sees something before everyone else sees it, right? The comedy is still there. If you want to laugh, there are plenty places you can go for that. But I do want to challenge this perspective. A lot of people feel like, I thought this comment was hilarious actually. I saw someone comment under the trailer and say, not y'all trying to turn my laughs into a nightmare. That was hilarious. Sis, I feel you. It's okay. You ain't gotta watch it. But I do want to challenge people and look at things this way. Perhaps BEBE is not changing comedy to a nightmare. Perhaps BEBE is allowing you to look at what has always been there differently, from a different lens. When we look at the cartoon and the animation, the theme, the base of the story is exactly the same in the psychological thriller spin that we're doing now. You have 3 kids from inner city who come home, there's no food in the fridge, they are too young to be at home by themselves, their mom is not there, the house is absolutely a mess, it's not a good living condition. They have behavior problems, they BEBE kids. How many BEBE kids do we know? So what I've learned and found interesting about this story that me and Marquise have been willing to challenge and be brave about is, you know, we see the animation, we see the colors, we see the comedy, we see the tone of how the characters talk, we see funny moments, but if you get beyond those funny moments, those surface clues of comedy and look deeper, it's really nothing to laugh about. There's nothing funny about kids who don't have a mom that is there, that is nurturing them, that is being the mom that they need. There's nothing funny about kids spending their whole day at an amusement park, acting like they don't have sense, and then coming home to food that's not in the fridge. There's nothing funny about pulling up to your apartment and there's rats and spiders crawling across your feet. But that was BEBE Kids, the cartoon, the animation that we laughed at. But it was presented in a way that made it entertaining and comical. So those same bottom lines apply to the spinoff we have done. We just told it from a lens of a drama reality perspective, right? And then this is the last thing I want to say. Culturally, we are known for being able to cope with so much trauma and hurt and pain. And our biggest coping mechanism is through laughter. It is through making something that's not funny funny. BEBE is just a rendition of the same thing. So when people ask, why did we choose to make something that was comical, drama, I'd like to say the comedy that you laughed at, the drama was always there. It was just presented to us differently. So we just brought it to the surface, right? And we can still laugh, we can still find humor, because that's culturally what's in our nature. We gotta get by, we gotta keep living, we gotta find some joy somewhere. So even in despair, even in the hard conversations, even in the stuff that's really not funny, that's really sad, we find a way to make it comical because it's something we can all relate to. You know, some of us can relate to bad kids, but ultimately that's not a good thing. At the root, why do BEBE kids act the way that BEBE kids act? But it's funny to talk about because we know one. We can relate to it. But if we go deeper, that's not really funny at all. But we found a way to find a common interest and to cope with it. And so that's why turning BEBE Kids, the comedy, into BEBE, the drama, absolutely was worth it.
Good night, Mr. Robin.
Thank you for tonight. I know BEBE Kids have a behavior problem, but I know they enjoy it tonight.
Jamaica, the behavior problem they have ain't normal. Something right. Kids just don't act like that. Please just make sure you check on them tomorrow. Hey, some bad kids. They bad as hell. But I'm worried about them.
Recreating films that we've seen before or putting new spins on them. Art imitates life, right? So as a filmmaker, if my agenda is to help progress a community through storytelling, through entertainment, how can I effectively nurture a community? And in my opinion, give them medicine. that they were willing to take, that they can actually digest. Well, what's familiar to us? Our classics, the things that we hold close to us. So if I'm able to mix something that's familiar, like for a baby that you're trying to give medicine to, like the orange juice, like the applesauce, if I can mix that in with the medicine, with what they need today to be better, then sometimes that's what I do, and those situations I do feel are beneficial. Now there is another side where we're talking about being creative, being original, because we do get those comments. We do get people saying, man, can y'all just be original? You know, I'm just so sick of people not being original. I agree. I do think there are ways we can be challenged to do more. But I will say this, any and everything that you have ever seen came from the shoulder of whoever was before them. Literally. So even our music that we love, when we say back in the day, when we talk about music back in the day, films back in the day, there was a back in the day before that. So they had to draw inspiration from something that led to them creating what they did. So really what's happening, if you allow yourself to look at it that way, is we're taking what has been done before us and letting it nurture us to be inspired to create something now. Because one day someone will be saying, why can't you be original? Why are you making stuff like they made? And when we made it, we were being persecuted for making something like they made. So the cycle continues. Like, what story do you want to buy into? Do you want to make this progressive and positive, or do you want to rain on the parade? You know, but I completely agree and support with please be original, please push buttons. But there's nothing wrong with gleaning and taking inspiration. Just make sure you do your due diligence. With all the feedback, good and bad, coming from BEBE, why should this movie be given a chance? Because it's getting feedback. Like, people are talking about it. Whether they feel this way or that way is being discussed. It's starting a conversation, right? It's provoking questions. That's what you need. That's where impact lies. You know, everyone doesn't have to be on the same side of the coin, but the greatest impact comes from a conversation being generated. And this story has literally done that. You guys haven't seen a full script, but I will say there's so much more layers. It's so much deeper. There's so much symbolism that speaks to a lot of things that are so relevant to this world. And for that alone, I feel like it is worth seeing. It is worth making a full feature. This story goes as deep as to trauma bonding, trauma in general, generational curses, molestation, single parents, inner city, government assistance, children with behavior problems, children who are forced to have to grow up too early, too young, and what that creates, children who were deprived of a childhood, friends who want to be supportive of other friends that live completely different lives. Like, this can go on and on and on, but this story literally touches on all of those areas and then some. It's touching on the stuff people don't want to talk about. Like, it's touching on the stuff that people have in private conversations. We need that. Like, we need the storytellers that are willing and brave enough to take it there, to touch on some stuff that we don't see all the time, that's not portrayed because it's real and it happens. And the more we continue to put this dark cloud and this black cloud around the topics that need to be brought to light and discussed, the more we stay bound, you know? So I know for some it may feel like this is killing the vibe, but this is how you're enlightened. When you expose things, when you make things known, this is how you create a new vibe, a healthy vibe, right? So that's why BEBE's Kids is worth greenlit, and honestly, that's why it's worth seeing. That's why it's worth creating, because it's a story that is a reflection of real life. You will be entertained, you will grow, your mind will be challenged, you know, and it will be done in quality. If you have watched our BEBE's Kids fan made trailer on YouTube. I just want to say thank you. I also want to say I appreciate all the feedback, all the opinions. I don't believe in a good or bad. I just think it's your opinion. Like I said, you eat the meat, you throw out the bone. You take what's constructive, you take what can help you. So I thank you guys for that. I thank you for the love. I thank you for the support. Even for those who didn't attend, it's still love and support. It was just clothed differently. But that's all I want to say. Look out, because I said this before. Hate it or love it, we coming. If you watched it and you didn't like it, that's okay. We still got a view, but your opinion is totally your prerogative. The new psychological thriller, BEBE, inspired by Robin Harris's BEBE's Kids, is coming. Thank you so much for the comments, the opinions, the love, the support. Hate it or love it, we coming. I'm out.
BEBE Kids went through